The New York Knicks are supposed to win. This is not a cute little story. This is not the little engine that could. This is not a little, oh, wow, look, the Knicks delivered this season of overachievement. Nonsense. The New York Knicks are top 10. Not many teams can say this. Top 10, both offensive and defensive efficiency. They're led by a legit superstar. They got three-point snipers everywhere. They've got the home court advantage. And back to Jaylen Brunson for a second. Like Jaylen Brunson, the debate, superstar, top level, second level, digest this however you want. Jaylen Brunson just delivered to you as Knicks fans and to the NBA by extension, one of the all-time great New York Knicks seasons. Now, one of the all-time great New York Knicks seasons. This goes back to Clyde. You want to throw a Pearl season, a Willis Reed season, a couple of Patrick seasons, a couple of Bernard King seasons, throw a couple of Melo seasons in there from a scoring perspective. It is on. It is go time. Cute story, my ass. Knicks are supposed to win, and they're going to.
Well, forget about supposed to win because they're not according to the odds.
Yeah, I don't care what the odds say. I don't care one bit. The Knicks are better.
Well, I mean, so then you're saying this is a must-win series for them?
Yes. Yes, if the Knicks don't win this series, it's a colossal failure. There is no other way to unpack this. I don't care if the Knicks lose Game 7 on the at the buzzer on a 57-foot heave by Tobias Harris. Oh, wow, what a competitive season by the Knicks. Nonsense. I don't care what the odds say. I care less what other people are saying. I know what I see, and I know what I watch, and we know basketball in this city. And there is nothing that this Knicks team does not have. They're supposed to win. You want a superstar? You got it. You want a couple of bigs? You got it. You want a couple of wings who can snipe it? You got it. You got a team that digs in and plays defense? You got it. You want a good coach? You got it. You got home court? You want it? You got it. So why will the Knicks not be expected to win?
I think the perception, first of all, there are always going to be homers, right? Knicks fans, homers. And while we are Knicks fans, I'm not going to speak for you. You can speak for yourself. Certainly got 4 hours here. I am not a Knicks homer. Matter of fact, I said I was a little worried about matching up with Philadelphia, although after watching that play-in game on Wednesday night, I felt better about the matchup with Philadelphia before Butler got hurt.
Yep.
I'm watching that game thinking, oh, man, the Heat would be a nightmare. It'd be a 7-game grueling series. I don't want any part of that. And I look at the Sixers saying, well, Batum's not going to do this. I think it's a better matchup for the Knicks with the 76ers. I am not a Knicks homer to a point where I'm blind to the fact of, they're going to win the series or that the Sixers can't beat them. I think the 76ers are very good, as a matter of fact. However, I also am aware that Jaylen Brunson has been one of the best players, if not the best player in the NBA. And I, like you, don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the odds say. I don't care about Jokic. Jaylen, you cannot be better. Now, you could be as good. You could be different. You could be more successful in other ways.
Yeah.
You can't be as important to your team or more important to your team than Jaylen Brunson has been to the Knicks. It is impossible. You take him off the Knicks, they're trash. If you take Jokic off the Nuggets, I bet you the Nuggets are still better than the Knicks. Brunson has basically single-handedly carried the Knicks while they lost their second and third best player for the majority of the year, still without their second best player, to a 2-seed. So I believe Brunson is a superstar who can carry this team to a finals. Okay, I'm not putting a ceiling on them because I didn't believe it before. They proved me wrong. I also think the Knicks as a team are being disrespected. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Charles Barkley or Shaquille O'Neal or Draymond Green or, other people.
The odds makers.
The odds makers. It's like this, the little engine that could feel good Knicks.
Yeah.
And it's like we here in New York are only believing in them because we're Knicks fans and because this is our town. And that is bullcrap. I believe in this Knicks team because they've earned it. They're that good. Brunson is a legitimate superstar, and they play well as a team. Now, BT, you're right. They got to go out there and prove it. But the perception is that the Knicks aren't really that good, and a lot of people don't take them seriously.
I think that you're right about that, and I don't know why. I mean, I'm here to dispel it as much as I can, but at the end of the day, I really don't care what people think. Like, I don't care what Spike, and we love Spike, I don't care what Spike thinks about the Knicks. I don't care, as you said, with Charles or Reggie or these other national pundits, and I certainly care less about Draymond Green, who's got his own issues from his team perspective, right, flying in on a podcast telling us how the Knicks have no chance to win. It doesn't matter. You know why? because I've watched the Knicks this year. Because I'm not one of these guys who just watches highlights and jumps on the bandwagon. I have probably watched 75 of 82, maybe not, tip to buzzer, but chunks, and some tip to buzzer, 75 of 82 Knicks games. And everything that I see, and I'm not going to lie to you, there were definitely times during the year where my confidence was clearly shaken. Julius Randle goes down late January. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that is a massive problem because the way the team was growing and gelling, the new addition of OG, obviously Brunson, obviously Randle, there was a mesh there that allowed us to dream big. And when he went down, we thought, maybe we were spared here. It could have been worse. Well, it is worse because he's not playing. And then you get OG, and then he's playing well. Even without Randle, they look good. And then he goes down. Every different configuration of the New York Knicks showed a resolve and a toughness and an aptitude and a connectivity as a team. And, oh, yeah, by the way, those are things that are a little less tangible. Like, those are things you say about cute teams that overachieve. Oh, they're connected. Oh,
yeah, but it's real.
They get along with each other.
The chemistry.
Their chemistry, their IQ, their aptitude. No, but they also put the ball in the bucket. They're also a top 10 NBA offensive efficiency team. They're also a top 10 NBA defensive efficiency team. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people think. The Knicks are supposed to win this series. The Knicks will win this series. And if they don't win, then I'm having the conversation. They might have the wrong coach. They're supposed to win this series.
Right, but it is funny how you can feel strongly about them, and we could say, hey, if they don't win this first round matchup, it is going to be a disaster for the season.
It's going to be.
But the perception, or maybe even the reality, not the perception, the reality for other people, don't look at the Knicks as being that good. And so they're going to have to prove themselves here. Now, they did win a postseason series a year ago, but they had a disappointing second round against Miami. They are without Julius Randle, so there are some, built-in excuses, whatever you want to say. But I think the Knicks themselves. Did you see Brunson's post yesterday? His story that he wrote for the Athletics.
Yes,
dude.
Yes, he's unreal.
I wanted to run through a wall after reading that.
Even just the way he's sitting there with his hoodie at the press conference, like just locked in.
He's locked. So,
go time.
So
he's ready.
We feel, and the Knicks, more importantly than what we feel, the Knicks themselves aren't going into this saying like, oh, well, our ceiling is to get to the Eastern Conference Finals or whatever, have a good series against a tough Sixers team and see where. No, their expectations are high. Our expectations are high for them based on watching them all year long and knowing and believing in what they're capable of, led by a legitimate superstar. But outside, it's like I don't think it would be – I think people expect the Knicks to lose. We talk about this all the time. Not that it's a be-all, end-all, but the barometer generally can be in the odds and what the odds makers say. And whether that is the disrespect for Jaylen Brunson as an MVP candidate, whether that is the disrespect for the Knicks as being a legitimate championship contender, whether that is the disrespect for the Knicks winning this series in which they have home court playing against a banged-up Sixers team. I mean, you watch this team, Joel Embiid doesn't look like he's 100% healthy. He's not, hasn't been, and yet the Knicks are still considered like underdogs to a certain extent.
Well, I mean, listen, I honestly can't control what people think, and
no, but they can.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where I was going. But just to finish that, I can't control what people think, and a long time ago, I honestly stopped caring about what people think. I don't care. You're of your own volition. You watch what you watch. I watch what I watch.
Right, but do you want to see the Knicks prove them wrong?
I do, and I fully expect that they will. And if they don't, then it's the biggest underachievement in a while. Like again, I can't reiterate this enough. This is not a cute little story. And like if the Knicks get clipped in the last 2 minutes, Game 7, I'm going to sit here on the day after, if this were to happen, and applaud them and laud them for a great season. It will be a season of colossal disappointment. Now,
either way, because usually you're like, yeah, I got to see how it plays out.
I don't care how it plays out. Win the series. Now, I will say, and we'll cross this bridge hopefully when we get there if we have to. Like if they advance, you play the Bucks. Is Giannis right? Did the Bucks even advance? Like, there will be varying degrees of confidence going into each series. The Celtics, I'll tell you right now, I'm not saying they couldn't beat them. I wouldn't pick them to win. Right. I don't expect them to beat the Celtics. So it's not about being a homer. It's about identifying this objectively, what the Knicks do well. And I can't help if most of the world doesn't see what they do well, because they do a lot right.
But
to me, there is no but.
No. But somebody at the end of the day, and that's what makes this so special, is going to be proven right. Somebody's going to be proven wrong.
That's fine. That's always the scoreboard, right?
But that's what makes it fun.
Yeah,
but
let's go. I'm not going to run from that.
Are the Knicks going to validate what we feel about them in this series, forget about beyond. Let's just focus on this series. Are they going to validate what we've seen all year long and what we feel about them and believe, or are the naysayers and doubters and disbelievers going to be proven correct? That's what the Knicks have to have on their shoulders now this year. By the way, we don't have to care what anybody else thinks. It's being said about the Knicks, so we take it personally because that's our team. This is our city.
I think you take it more personally than me. I truly don't care. I honestly don't care.
They care.
I don't care what I know they do.
In the team, because it's being said about them.
Yes.
I couldn't care less.
I don't care. Like the backup, scrub Sixers centers, like, oh, we want the easier matchup. Great, you got it. We'll see. We'll see you Saturday at 6. We'll see what happens.
Well, but the problem is we don't play. They do.
Oh, and if
and they're gonna have to go.
But I don't think that they care in the sense where it's gonna get like.
Come on, it's being said about them.
No, where it's a distraction or even where it's fuel. And that's or motivation. I don't think these guys need it. You got to look at the composition of the team. Half the team won championships in college. OG won a championship in Toronto. Like, this group walks through the door and they expect to win. And now listen.
But if they lose, you're going to have to come on and say, you know what? I'm sorry, Charles. I'm sorry, Draymond. I'm sorry, Spike.
Well,
I was wrong. You were right.
Well, I mean, I think it'll be more, we got to mix things up. Yeah, I mean, I'll have no problem saying that I was wrong.
Right.
I'm not going to go on the apology tour. I'm not going to start kissing anybody's behind.
No, but they would be proven correct that the Knicks were, in fact.
That's fine. That's fine. And, yeah, I mean, I'll say I got it wrong. My judgment was erroneous.
Right.
The Knicks didn't win a series that I thought they would win.
And then we'd attack the Knicks, right.
And then I would go bonkers. And I would care less about Spike and Charles and Shaq and more about what the hell went awry. Yeah, I'll tell you, listen, when you watch these teams, we are so, and we'll get to these calls here in a sec, 877-337-6666. But we watch these teams, whether it's the ninth inning of a closer trying to slam the door or a late free throws or a breakaway on the ice, shootout, and we feel like we're out there. We're not. We obviously know that. And we really, no matter how much we yell or cheer or lament whatever, we don't control what happens. But I'll say this. I truly do believe for my own inner... My inner, not my motor, but my own inner scoreboard. I'm going to be right about a lot of predictions, and it's not about a prediction in terms of winning. I will take this to the bank that the belief that I have in this team in terms of their toughness, in terms of their professionalism, in terms of them really, their resilience, something that I don't know that any team in our city has had this much of. You can't control the whistle. Shots don't always drop. An ankle could be sprained. But these boys, these Knicks, they're going to win, and they're going to snatch their soul.
BT and Sal on the Fan. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire.
Dude, I'm pumped.
Nobody.
Nothing gets me pumped like the Knicks playoffs. Nothing.
I can't wait for it tomorrow evening, as a matter of fact.
Let's go, Dove.
Brad is in Mineola. What's up, Brad? Dove obviously pumped up as well.
New York, go, baby.
There you go.
Honestly, I feel really, really good about this team. Joel Embiid is at 70%, if that, watching that game. We have three dogs. We have three big dogs in Precious Chua, in Mitchell Robinson, and Ihart. They're not going to baby Embiid. Embiid's going to get bumped around. I'll be honest with you, they're not going to do it on purpose. I wouldn't be shocked if Embiid's out after game 2.
Well, I mean, who knows about that?
They're going to push them around, and I'm not hoping for an injury. I'm not. But the Knicks are a bunch of dogs, and Philly's not.
Yeah,
and that's why we're going to win this series.
I'm not, and thank you for the call. I'm not going to get into the dog aspect of it. And you want to talk about logistics, BT, as far as who's going to stop Joel Embiid. One thing that I would worry about from a defensive perspective, because you could say, yeah, well, the Knicks have some guys in there with Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein who could defend Embiid. Yeah, but
and Achua. And by the way, OG's I know it's going to sound nuts. OG's going to take a few reps on him. Watch, he's going to be matched up sometimes.
Why though? Because perimeter. So when you talk about Mitchell Robinson, his strength is a rim protector.
Yeah, for sure.
Embiid stretches the floor, and he's going to play beyond the perimeter. So that's going to negate what Mitchell Robinson could do defensively. Hartenstein maybe could do it a little bit better as he could play out on the perimeter a little more than Mitch.
Yep.
But let's not make it like, oh, well, the Knicks got two good defensive centers could shut him down. It's not about that. To your point, we've already heard about OG maybe on him.
Yeah.
And because you're going to need a perimeter defender to slow down the 7-foot Embiid if you could possibly do that. So there are going to be issues here. I do think it's a better matchup for the Knicks. Let's not be blind to the fact that the Sixers with Embiid are a very dangerous first-round opponent.
That's why we were talking before the show, and Hoff was saying, "Do you think they're going to sweep them 5?" I'm like, no, I don't get wrapped up in that. Just get 4 before they do. And Embiid is a great player. He's great.
But he is compromised.
He's a little compromised, yeah, although he made some big plays at the end of the game, 11 points in the fourth quarter. That great pass as well. Obviously, the end one, which was a big bucket there at the end of that game the other night. And Embiid's going to draw doubles, and he gets rid of it quickly. He does the right thing. He's a beast. He's almost unstoppable, right? So I get that. He's going to get his. Probably going to average 30 and 13, something like that. I think the key is obviously not letting Maxey look like an all-world player. And he's going to have a game or two where he does. But then I think the depth and the strength and numbers is going to obviously support the Knicks. But also, you talk about nobody stopping Embiid, and they won't. They won't stop him. Now, the Knicks with the shooters, you got to get Embiid outside playing defense as well. So it's not just Embiid shooting threes. It's also Embiid on switches, 22 feet away from the rim. Like, how Embiid's going to complicate the Knicks world, the Knicks are going to complicate his world as well, even though he is an amazing player.
Matthew is calling from Howell, New Jersey. What's up, Matthew?
Matty.
Yeah, what's up? How you guys doing?
Oh, you just made it at the buzzer. What's up, Matthew?
Yeah, I'm actually rooting for the Knicks. I actually hope they win, but I had one problem with one of your takes with Jaylen Brunson MVP. I don't think he's close to SGA. I don't know how you even see that.
I don't care about SGA.
Yeah.
How about that? I honestly don't.
Yeah, but
and thanks for the
He's
call.
a great player.
Yeah.
And I don't even listen. All we said was that Jaylen Brunson's an MVP candidate. What I said specifically, and you can look this up statistically and try to refute this, Jaylen Brunson has given Knicks fans one of the all-time great New York Knicks season. Goes back to the 50s. I didn't even mention some of those great early players, but I did mention Clyde and Willis and Bernard King and Patrick Ewing and Melo. He gave you that. Now, the MVP, he's not going to win it. He's moved up a little bit. I don't care about that now.
Right, but and what I said was there's no way that any other player in the league could be more valuable to their team than Jaylen Brunson is to the New York Knicks. I don't care what anybody says. And I know how good other players are, but I've watched Brunson every single night, and I know that if you take him off this Knicks team, they're probably a 10 seed, if that. If that, they might not even be that. If you take other stars, SGA or Jokic off their team, those teams would be better.
Edwards.
No, they wouldn't be as good, but they still wouldn't be as bad as the Knicks would be if they lost Jaylen Brunson.
If they didn't have Jaylen, forget about losing him. Like if Jaylen Brunson never came here and he stayed with Dallas and the Knicks didn't do something incredible, which they probably wouldn't have because there weren't many other options if you didn't get Jaylen Brunson, I don't even think the Knicks are playing in the playing game.
Right.
I honestly don't.
That's the point.
Think they're getting ready for the lottery.
That's the point.
That's where we are.
Right. They would be that bad. And maybe that does play to the point of some of the national pundits or whatever who say, well, they're not that good because maybe they just look at it as a one-man show. Maybe they think Brunson, his size in the postseason can be. I don't know. I can't speak for that. All I could say is when you start talking most valuable player, by definition, doesn't mean best, doesn't mean most talented, doesn't mean most dominant, most valuable player. It is impossible to find a more valuable player. As valuable? Maybe. It is impossible to find a more valuable player than Jaylen Brunson has been to the New York Knicks.
I know we got a break here. I want about 3 seconds of silence. Just listen to nothing for 2-3 seconds. Okay. Now know what's coming. Fourth quarter, down a point, Brunson, and 1. And then the Garden just explodes. OG from the corner, down 2, bang, triple. Knicks up 1, timeout, 13 seconds to go. Like, the sound that this place is going to deliver and emit is going to sound different. We have not heard this because even last year, didn't really fully believe 2020 with COVID. We were just happy to be back. This is different. They're ready.
Sixers are going to taste a little something that they haven't. This is New York.
Get the fork. It's time to eat.
We are the New York Knicks. BT and Sal on the fan. More of your calls on the other side.